Imagine waking up in the middle of the night, alone, afraid, surrounded by darkness, and feeling an invisible presence watching you. That's exactly how Jacob felt, on the banks of the Jabbok River. He had spent his entire life running, first from his brother Esau, then from his own decisions. Now, the past was catching up to him in the form of an army led by the very brother he betrayed. But what Jacob didn't know was that on this silent night, he wouldn't be facing an army. He would be facing God himself. This isn't just a story about faith. It's a story about identity crisis, guilt, and transformation. Jacob's struggle wasn't only physical. It was emotional, spiritual, existential. And what happens next is one of the most mysterious and powerful passages in the entire Bible. The moment a broken, desperate man wrestles with God and prevails. Jacob was born grasping his brother's heel. From the womb, his life was marked by conflict. He grew up the quieter one, the one who stayed home, the one who cooked. But that didn't make him weak. Jacob was clever. He deceived Esau twice, first by buying his birthright with a bowl of stew, then by fooling their father, Isaac, to steal the blessing that wasn't his. These choices shaped his destiny. Forced to flee to his uncle Laban's land, Jacob spent years being tricked, cheated, and used, facing the very deception he had once used against others. But during that time, something began to change in him. The weight of guilt, the longing for peace, and the desire for reconciliation grew inside. Until one day, he realized it was time to go back. But going back meant facing everything he tried to leave behind. On the night before he would meet Esau again, Jacob was alone. He had sent his family and possessions ahead, and now he stood isolated. It was dark, quiet. Then, suddenly, someone appeared. The Bible simply says, "A man wrestled with him until daybreak." Who was this man? An angel? God in human form? Scholars have debated this for centuries, but what matters most is not who Jacob fought. It's why. That struggle was a physical representation of Jacob's inner turmoil. He no longer wanted to be the same man. He was desperate for a new identity. He didn't want to be the deceiver anymore. And in that mysterious fight, Jacob did something he had never done before. He persevered. He didn't run. He didn't lie. He didn't trick. He stood his ground, with honesty, with pain, with body and soul. The struggle lasted all night. Jacob clung to the man like his life depended on it. And it did. At one point, the man touched his hip and dislocated it. A sharp pain shot through Jacob's body, but still, he refused to let go. He groaned, he bled, he cried out, but he held on. "I will not let you go unless you bless me," he shouted. In that moment, everything changed. The being who could have easily overpowered Jacob recognized his determination. And then came a simple but profound question. "What is your name?" It wasn't just small talk. God already knew his name, but this was Jacob's moment to admit who he truly was. Saying Jacob meant confessing it all. The trickster, the manipulator, the man who had always relied on deception. And by admitting that, Jacob created room for transformation. Then came the blessing. "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." That name change marked a new identity. Israel means one who wrestles with God. From that moment on, Jacob was no longer just a man on the run. He became a patriarch of a nation. But this transformation didn't come without pain. He left that encounter limping, his hip injured. But that limp was a symbol, a permanent reminder of the night he faced everything he feared. And instead of running, he held on. Jacob's struggle shows us that sometimes God confronts us not to destroy us, but to heal us. That pain can be the turning point of our lives. That perseverance can matter more than strength. And that, to receive a new identity, we must be willing to face the truth about who we are. The next day, limping and changed, Jacob met Esau. And surprisingly, there was no revenge. There was an embrace. There was forgiveness. There were tears. The miracle of reconciliation happened, but it was only possible because, the night before, Jacob fought the hardest battle of all, the fight within himself. The story of Jacob is not just about the past. It's about all of us, about who we've been, and who we can still become. Sometimes, in the darkness of the night, when we're alone with our thoughts, God shows up. And when He does, the question still echoes. What is your name? Are you ready to answer?